break. When we return, we'll have the 5th game of the series.
Keep up with your favorite players and teams on the official HGC website for desktop and mobile. Stats, archived matches, and everything you need to stay up to date with the global Heroes of the Storm Esports League. Watch live on game days and upgrade your Heroes of the Storm knowledge. 2018 promises to be the best year yet. Look for expanded statistics, enhanced viewing experiences, and more on your home for the HGC.
King's Gambit is a team that barely qualified for the HGC Open Division playoffs, which they then crushed, 4-0ing in the grand finals. And well, we can see exactly why. They are up 3-1 versus No Tomorrow and looking good.
Looking very, very good. That last game was really the factor for me that showed that this is a team that does deserve to be in the HGC. The fact that they could play against that Abathur style of composition and just, it looked like they had played against that all week.
Oh, they were ready.
That's what that, exactly.
Yeah,
like it looked so convincing to me. Very small amounts of misplays by King's Gambit. It just looked so good.
Like, I mean, let's go to figure out what the last battleground is going to, well, potentially last battleground is going to be here in this series, but ooh, Volskaya. This spices things up. Again, one of our other, like, less common maps that we see, usually towards the tail end of a series. But, you know, there's so many like, little things, right? The fact that they acknowledge that, yeah, Malfurion's open here in the latter half of the draft. They banned Stukov, and they just still ended up gunning for the Karazim. Just cool, calm, collected, knowing exactly what they wanted to do. They made it look wonderful. The flexibility and all of their picks. I mean, Phoenix and the solo, like just so many cool adaptations made to make that draft work.
The Karazim to me was actually so smart. Yeah, it was so good because then it forces the Genji to be like, okay, there's only one target I can dive. It's the Jaina, and then you'll have the Palm for it, and of course the Karazim just to match against that hero in general. So King's Gambit just absolutely doing incredibly well in all facets, but No Tomorrow not out of it yet.
So Jaina's had you know, a very high impact. This is not the first ban we've seen for her, and that forces the response on the Maiev. Looking back at the earlier matches in the series, basically Garrosh was the first pick. It looked comfortable for Jin there on the hero, and to me this is like the comfortability middle ground for No Tomorrow, and Garrosh is great on this map.
King's Gambit, Garrosh is picked up for No Tomorrow. King's Gambit now in their 1 and 2 pickups. Like you said, Jaina Maiev being banned. I see King's Gambit going into a Diablo-style draft in this game. I think that they need the aggression in order to try to close out a victory for themselves. Likely, or it might not come out in the 1-2, but it could certainly. Hanzo also up, Genji up, Phoenix up, and then, of course, both of the S-tier supports. You got Malfurion and Stukov available as well, so lots of picks potentially from King's Gambit.
Yeah, we've seen them do a lot of like Hanzo plus Malf in this situation because of the control. We always have to mention Alex Draz on this map. She is an option. And then Stukov with Garrosh is very good. This is a very good Stukov map. So they are going to go with the Blaze for that early pickup instead of Hanzo with Malfurion. And I think that's an excellent choice, but probably means no global, which isn't that big of a deal on this map.
Yeah, this map doesn't usually have the global, you know, sometimes it can, but certainly not like the other maps.
Right.
This one's all about that 5v5, you know, that skirmish, because the objective is quite linear in fashion.
King of the hill.
You pick up that first protector, you know, you can take 2 walls off of it, sometimes even a full fort, as we saw yesterday. Really snowball yourself an advantage. No Tomorrow now with their 2-3 pickups. You see this Blaze, you see this Malfurion. I say it's a high likelihood that they at least pick up the Stukov here.
Yeah.
Is it the Hanzo with it?
I don't see why it wouldn't be, because one thing that we know King's Gambit likes to do is kind of force the engage, right? Give yourself that moment and when you think we're fighting here and now, and tools are, you know, arrow, setting up Apocalypse, setting up Shadow Charge, whatever it is. I think by grabbing that, you set yourselves up really nicely for the ban phase here, because you have a very well-rounded start to your draft, and you've taken away some of their favorite things. Have we had a single game that didn't have Hanzo or Jaina involved in King's Gambit? I think they've always had one or the two.
Probably, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, most likely. Sonya now being banned. The Sonya is actually interesting as a ban here, but I love the fact that like No Tomorrow's opener is very, very powerful, and it's very No Tomorrow. So they have all of their comfort picks right now. The Hanzo and the Stukov. Genji being banned, so King's Gambit, they're a little bit choked on carries at this point.
Yeah, a little bit.
What is their comfort?
I mean, you still have Tychus as like a huge option, who's very good on this map, generally speaking, and helps deal with the Garrosh a little bit. You mentioned the Diablo as a likely pickup for that front line and their hard engage onto the Garrosh, also with the % damage.
Thrall is less likely because of the Blaze.
Right.
But Junkrat is certainly a possibility, especially with that Genji not available. So also King's Gambit can elect to play a Tracer style comp. You know, you could bring the Tracer in here, Malfurion's already chosen, but it could be a Tracer comp. It could be, okay, they're going to use Gul'dan. This is different from King's Gambit, so it's a little bit harder to predict here.
It is. This confirms they're clear for the rotations between mid and bottom, which is, or mid and top. But this is definitely...
Be like a Greymane in a Diablo.
I'm just curious as to...
Okay, so their Warrior's going to be ETC.
Like, Gul'dan just feels like, could that have been, like, could you left your last slot open? Is the Gul'dan needed? Genji's banned, so I guess it's actually very safe considering that that's one of the primary dives. And they're now kind of set on this Stukov in the back with the silence, and Garrosh trying to find that throw into the silence style of play. So Gul'dan should be fairly safe against that.
Maybe they were worried if they locked in something that would have filled the role of their anti-tank, that they couldn't flex that. Because if they did beforehand, then No Tomorrow can just, you know, build a lot of bodies, and then they're like, oh, yeah, we already locked in our solo lane. It's not like we can, you know, use a Leoric or something like that, or a Tychus on top of it. So that maybe that's kind of the direction that they were going here. But King's Gambit, this doesn't look as much like their style of draft, mainly just because the Gul'dan and the ETC in there.
ETC over Diablo. Like, what do you think the main variable is for that? Because we've always seen like this, we're forcing to fight now, but this is not that.
Whoa, okay, Arthas and Greymane, so this is the tanky style from No Tomorrow, and now you basically, I see Tychus like 9 times out of 10 in this situation.
I mean, is there anything else you would want to play here?
You've got Gul'dan, Greymane is picked up over there, you got Genji banned, Hanzo's already represented, no.
Yeah, I think this is...
Unless it's something
trying to
wild.
rack my brain. I mean, you're not going to run like Gul'dan Li Ming or something, that's just, no. Yeah, I'm feeling Tychus. I don't.
King's Gambit, they're spending a bit of time on it though.
Oh, you might as well. This is checkpoint.
Oh, there it is.
So Tracer.
We were talking about Tracer earlier, but it's definitely like it does make sense here, and the Tracer can match the Hanzo very well as the Greymane. You know, if she's able to find those big pulse bombs. But you know, Tracer a little bit reduced in power recently, but we've still seen her show up quite often. But yeah, it could have been the Tychus, could have been the Tracer, but they decided to go with that Tracer. They want that hyper carry.
When you mention like her power has been kind of reduced, but it's also been changed.
That's
her effective power. So before she was more of a, I'm gonna punish and blow you up, and he's squishy. She's more of a sustained, like safe, consistent damage now, and that's actually pretty good against like an Arthas, right? Arthas doesn't do very well against Tracer. She's just walking around, you know, constantly applying consistent damage to her. So that's interesting, but go for the throat could be rough for her.
It's basically going to be us focusing on how this Tracer navigates the map and how the first objective plays out. This is going to be a good one, you know. 3 wins for King's Gambit at this point. No Tomorrow backs against the wall.
And in this weekend, this is our 4th Crucible match, the 4th best of 7 we've done, and every single time we've seen the HGC team really hold steady handily. This is actually the first Open Division team to even get 3 wins. But not only do they have 3 wins, they have 3-1. So I'm pumped, obviously. We've been casting these guys for a while. They kind of exploded at the end of the season and just kind of like, I don't know, Phoenix rising from the ashes. And they are looking fantastic in this series. Please follow all these players on Twitter. They deserve your respect regardless of the results in this series.
Absolutely. They've been showing why they do deserve that sort of thing. And, you know, even if things don't happen for them, you know, these players have shown up. Like individually, very high likelihood that they at least get scrims, you know, they can get tryouts, or they just try again in Open Division next time, but they have just proven that they can play here. They can be in the HGC. They've already proven it.
Well, I think we are ready to roll in to our next map here, playing on Volskaya Foundry, Kala. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is going to be in favor of either side?
I like No Tomorrow's draft a little bit better, but it just depends on how they navigate it. Like, I think that they are going to have a decently easy time with the first objective, and the first objective is just so powerful on this map. But to me, it's just how is this Tracer going to navigate the team fights? Because and how does the early game happen? Is King's Gambit able to control more of the objectives, like the items and stuff like that? Because as we all know,
we saw that yesterday, where we kind of got out of control. Well, let's roll in to Volskaya Foundry for the 5th game of this series. No Tomorrow on the blue side, backed up against the ropes, fighting for their HGC spot and their tournament life here in the Crucible with Hanzo Stukov, Arthas, Garrosh, and of course, Greymane. Lots of G's.
Lots of G's indeed. King's Gambit, ladies and gentlemen, it's Diesel on ETC, Droplets on that Tracer, Kevin on Gul'dan, Toby on Malfurion, Zergling on the Blaze. So, last time we saw Gul'dan, it was against a Maiev and a Diablo, two heroes that have very easy access to the Gul'dan, but here, not so much. You know, Garrosh can't find Gul'dan very easily. Arthas has to hit a skill shot to find the Gul'dan. So I think that the Gul'dan pickup is going to be a bit better here for King's Gambit in comparison to what we saw earlier.
Agree, like 1,000%. The one thing that we just have to watch for is the Hanzo arrows, right? Finding the hard engage with the Hanzo at level 10 to look for the Garrosh flip and then destruction of that. Cleanse is going to be a huge playmaker in those scenarios, and we'll watch out for it. Tracer, I love watching her on a map like this too, just because the way that she can almost treat Malfurion as a pit stop, get one of those Qs applied, and then continue harassing wherever she deems most important at that moment, looking to put pressure on and potentially find a kill for your team. Very safe rotation here from King's Gambit, not taking any chances.
And speaking of access to the backline of King's Gambit, we see Frost Presence, the talent chosen for Arthas here, so being able to get that increased range on his Howling Blast to try to just get those further engages, and I love that pickup from the Arthas. Equinox, smart choice. Uh-oh. Not stacking it there, though.
No. Well, but that's what we're going to see a lot of, is Tracer just trying to be as, you know, pestering as possible to the frontline heroes. Droplets is really not that afraid of a Garrosh, right? Like, she has recall, she has the tools to get away. Yes, the burst damage of a Hanzo and a Greymane is definitely quite threatening to that health bar of Tracer, but I still actually think the pick is really smart here.
Both these teams just trying to clear waves as best as possible. No tomorrow. They've got their Arthas down bottom, so Blaze is going to have to respond to that to not miss any experience. So a little bit of a rotational advantage in favor of No Tomorrow. They're the ones with the Arthas coming mid, so do they just try to go on the support camp? We've seen some issues with that a little bit, you know, yesterday, but...
Actually, as they were posturing, I was kind of getting deja vu and worried a little bit they would overcommit to going for that. And, you know, that's actually the one thing that we've kind of seen in the last few games here of this series is King's Gambit. At the start of this matchup between these two teams, they were playing hyper aggro in the early game. They've kind of reeled that in a little bit.
I'm just trying to play a little bit more calculated, perhaps, but very standard opener for this game so far. No kills, you know, neither of these teams willing to make an engagement, but I actually think the bigger factor is no teams really caught out at this point. King's Gambit, they're on their siege camp, but same thing over there. We've got Tomster just waiting to cap the siege camp of No Tomorrow, so both of these camps will be pushing top while the objective is spawning in 14 seconds.
Pretty much identical timing and identical situation for these teams, as they've just been playing honest and treating each other with a lot of respect, not taking any real chances. But this is when it all changes. Yep. We have this first point where, as they vie for control, Jhin can put on a ton of pressure. Now the silence is going to go out, but the roots are perfectly positioned to make sure Diesel is saved. Oh, jet propulsion coming forward, applying some good damage onto Jhin. And we do see Tracer considering going back to the top lane. Though those siege camps are going to fight, and if there's any advantage in the minion wave from the earlier presence of Greymane, that could become a victory for No Tomorrow in the top.
Okay, the Indomitable was spent. A massive outplay. Diesel gets absolutely destroyed here. Zergling looking for the engage too. The silence is perfect onto Kevin. The damage to follow up, and down goes Gul'dan.
The pulse bomb going in. That's going to find a kill onto Hanzo. Jhin is quite low in the back as well, and that turret has just been sitting there uncontested right now, getting a lot of just safe poke in, but Droplets is quite low. They do not have the heals at the moment, as we see him tapping the well top lane. We mentioned the additional splash from Greymane getting the value here in the top.
That was a huge outplay by Jhin. Excellent job holding that Indomitable, spending it as soon as the power slide came out. And what's most important about what we just saw was the fact that King's Gambit was 100% up a item. So No Tomorrow, they tried to position onto the control point and they used their turret, but King's Gambit were able to step in and just defeat it immediately, so they had the item advantage. That was not a power slide that Diesel needed to find, so King's Gambit playing a little bit too ambitious right there. But they got another one. They got another item in their pockets.
Top lane has been cleaned up. The experience still quite even overall. 75% progress was earned from that beautiful play of Jhin just earlier. But now we see some progress going over to our red side for the first time as they have gained control of this point. Level 10 quite far away, but it's still going to come down to just who can posture better and outplay their opponents. That blue turret has been dropped. Zergling looking for a jet propulsion on Tomster, but a good juke there as Zergling is now a little bit far forward. Can the heals come through in time? That fire ticking away, doing good self-sustain for him. They need to just kind of focus onto that turret, but Zergling is out of here.
Oh, nice jet propulsion to get him to safety there, but no tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a phase.
Yep, absolutely. They spent their item a lot better. This turret was more valuable for no tomorrow, and it all went down to that play that happened between Jhin and Diesel. So first objective going over to no tomorrow. Protector, Garrosh, and Hanzo both getting in this one. Focus on this mid wall, trying to pick up as much experience as possible. Then the rotation top to try to just make sure you have an easier time on the second objective.
I will say it was a little bit ambitious for Zergling to just try to raw jet propulsion onto Tomster. Tomster's not going to fall for that. He sees you, and he just calmly sidesteps you. It has a big windup, and basically they were able to almost kill him, but that was the end of the fight right there.
Yep. And he traded like almost all of his health for very low value. Ends up spending the turret. Just, yeah, not good. If you're King's Gambit, level 10's here for no tomorrow. And this is a very similar situation that we saw yesterday. You have this level 10, you push up with the Protector, and not only do you get top wall, but you get top fort, which is huge in terms of snowballing. Yeah, this XP swing is definitely big, but it's not like out of control, right? The fact that level 10 is just about to be picked up and they were able to posture, soak all through lanes, lose the fort. I mean, losing the fort, it's never good, but at the end of the day, that's all that they lost. One lane got pressured. It's nothing crazy. No one died. I think that's the big deal here. So stage dive and tranquility, the heroics of choice for King's Gambit. So we're going to see ETC in these side lanes. But yes, bunker had to be spent here. Droplets just trying to push up to allow Zergling to just exit that bunker and walk to safety. But what do you think about the stage dive over the mosh pit?
It's peculiar. I mean, I think there's not that many interrupts, but Hanzo's always going to be, off the distance. Rarely is he going to be involved in that mosh pit. So this is going to give them just some more opportunities to just get onto that back line. However, in the games that we saw yesterday, there were moments where we saw the stage dive being used onto the double warrior of Garrosh plus whomever, and honestly, it didn't look great.
All right. Next objective will be up shortly. Both of these teams just trying to clear up as many waves as they can, pick up as many items as possible. I like that No Tomorrow are looking... Okay, so I thought Jhin might have just went and looked at the fortification camp of King's Gambit, but the jet propulsion is... Yeah, there you go, spent. And they get the bunker out of it, so...
Yep, nicely done. 24 stacks on the Echoed Corruption here for Gul'dan, so working on that progress. It's a big power spike. We need to complete that in terms of the damage and, of course, some of the clustered fights that happen over these points. So that will be big when that comes online, but
stage dive is up.
You could actually took a lot of free poke from Hanzo there. No stage dive. Wow, it's late. No support camp able to be stolen here, but the roots are good. Big damage as the knockback from ETC is solid. Droplets not going to be able to use that recall in time as Go for the Throat finds the kill. Itobi thrown on in. Tranquility keeping them alive for a while, but the flailing swipe forcing them back. The low health bar is now going to be healed up easily. Clean fight for No Tomorrow. That stage dive seemed a little late.
It looked like a good idea from King's Gambit, but absolutely a little bit too late. They said they had vision too, but just not willing to spend it immediately. Could have gone right on the point, could have gotten a lot more value. The Horrify was actually fantastic, and the biggest part with that fight was the fact that Droplets was positioned so far on the left-hand side of the fight and got absolutely obliterated by Greymane.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Recall was on cooldown, but he definitely thought he was okay regardless to be in that forward position and go for the throw. I mean, that's what we mentioned. This is the last pick Tracer where they were looking to have that sustained damage to kind of pressure and also give you that kill potential, but she does not fare that well versus a go for the throat Greymane in these situations. Toss in onto Zergling with Go for the Throat, or at least the Warrior form going in with that Dark Flight, forces out the bunker. Power Slide is solid, and the roots are perfect with the bunker, sandwiching them in there. Jhin is low, the shield's coming through, they still have the support camp item if they choose to drop that to kind of restore their health and re-engage. They will be able to keep Jhin alive.
and that was with a talent advantage for No Tomorrow. Yes, both these teams just kind of flexing in that situation, but still, that was a lot of damage onto the front line of No Tomorrow, looking fairly promising. But yeah, Tomster getting a bit caught here. Droplets looking for some more damage. There's the power slide, there's the focus, and the into the fray was absolutely perfect.
Kevin knew that was going to happen. He was actually getting positioned to try to get the kill onto Tomster, but he's the focal point here. The heal's coming through, has to use that mana tap to stay alive, but Jin taking so much damage from the poisons, lockdown, and the silence. Not enough to save his life. Wow, I can't believe they picked that up without 13.
Absolutely. Equinox is on top point here for No Tomorrow, getting a little bit of an advantage when it comes to the control point, but immediately the rotation from King's Gambit is there. We see Jay Schritt represented bottom lane because obviously not interested in fighting, but does he get caught in this rotation?
Yeah, they don't have eyes on this.
Yeah.
They're going to wait in the bush, and Jay Schritt has the jump available, but is the damage too much?
Oh my gosh.
Has no HP, and Casanova coming down to help make sure that distract them and keep them away.
That was so close. Pulse Bomb not quite there at that point. Jay Schritt just managing to survive with literally no HP.
Close.
Here we go. Diesel on top here for King's Gambit, looking to control this point for their team. No heroics spent though, so we're going to see a team fight real soon.
Everyone's back pretty much at full power here on the side of No Tomorrow. Equinox stepping forward, trying to get the lock on Toby. Droplets now moving in. Takes a lot of damage. Right away, the Casanova is the target. Now we have Diesel with all of his normal abilities at the ready to try to lock someone in, but they drop the bunker. Horrified going in, looking for the damage. Tranquility is going to keep this team healthy for a while, but Gul'dan just cannot live through the onslaught of damage. Just in the back, being forced away onto the Hanzo. Zergling putting the pressure on, getting thrown forward. Has to try to retreat. Bunker not here. Down he goes. 2 for nothing, 3 for nothing. Favoring the side here of our boys in No Tomorrow. I lied. It's 2, but still the battle is going forward as Casanova dives in, looking for that damage on Droplets, and a clean fight.
No Tomorrow, you were talking about the change in Tracer's power, you know, removing from burst to kind of steady damage, and we've seen just twice in the past 2 minutes where a little bit of extra damage would have scored a kill onto Hanzo. We saw on the bottom side that would have been true. Top side right there, Jay Schritt escaping with 5 to 10% health. That would have been the case. That would have been the death if it were the old Tracer, so not quite able to satisfy those kills. And then, of course, if Hanzo was dead, that arrow wouldn't have found Gul'dan. Gul'dan likely would have still been alive, so No Tomorrow, they're finding these windows, they're finding these fights. Level 16's here for them, and they've got another protector.
I was actually really surprised in that fight because they had Greymane to half health and secluded from the team when they dropped the bunker, which of course causes a big distraction. ETC had just stage dove in, so I assume he had literally all of his basic abilities off cooldown, right, in that situation, because why would he have used it before? Maybe he did. But I don't know. I feel like they could have punished the Greymane a little bit better with Tracer and ETC being able to move up to the top half of the side. However, not the case here. Big Triglav Protector just going to get another fort. This is 2 objectives in a row, cleanly going to the side of No Tomorrow, giving them that nice level plus lead here.
King's Gambit just separating bottom and top, trying to pick up as much experience as possible, trying to find that level 16. Maybe we'll see Diesel split into the mid lane here with Tracer coming down because of the stage dive, but they need to find one of these team fights in order to really get back into the game. The stage dives, while they've been good in idea, have not been great in execution, so King's Gambit need to clean that up. And No Tomorrow, they're capitalizing on it. You know, the ETC was mispositioned last time. They were able to chase him down. Here we go.
Okay, they do get the roots, and a little bit of lockdown. Horrified does end up being spent here, and that Triglav is still alive. It's moving in with a lot of, has to drop the armor here to help Equinox alive, forcing out the bunker. Equinox, again, being the focal point, but he's just with Army of the Dead, with the heals coming in from Stukov. So much pressure, but that's going to be a double kill coming in as Greymane, or going in for the throat. Equinox finds a death coil on himself to just be safe and live through this, and they have to back away. Itobi does not have the resources. Maybe a big root can get them out of this. There it goes. They should be able to run away from Jeshrite.
So that was twofold. One, Droplet's not willing to spend the Pulse Bomb onto an Arthas that was so low. I'm pretty sure he dipped to 15% health at one point, which would have been enough to secure the kill if they just allocated more resources onto this Arthas. But at the same time, Casanova on the backside of that fight, so patient, ends up Dark Plighting in, picking up 1, picking up 2 kills for his team. No Tomorrow. They're showing a lot of life in this game and playing incredibly well.
They're playing wonderfully, and this is like, Arthas isn't that common of a hero, and we're seeing them try to isolate him using tools like the bunker sometimes and then look for the focus. But like you said, he has Army of the Dead. If you don't throw that Pulse Bomb out, if you don't kill him quickly, he does not die.
He's just going to eat the skeletons over and over, the ghouls over and over, and just be one healthy boy. But yeah, Arthas not finding the deaths. What do we got here? We've got King's Gambit. They're just focusing mid and bottom, but no tomorrow. If King's Gambit step up too far, they have Jhin in the flank, and that's where he plays best from. Support camp going over to no tomorrow. They recognize that members of King's Gambit are represented bot, so they just continually, they've definitely had control over these items so far in this game.
Yeah, they definitely have, and it's been pretty consistent for them, just locking that down. But yeah, I mean, a 2-level lead, 20 is going to become an issue. So now there's a timer on the clock right now where King's Gambit, they are the ones that need to act, and they need to find an opportunity. And no tomorrow, they're postured very safely. For that reason, stage dive going down here in the bottom half, looking to isolate Casanova. Power slide here to help with that. The root gets dropped and the Horrify. They need to focus Greymane, but they swap their targets. Now Gul'dan goes down. Greymane was just kind of ignored once again, and right now, that's going to cost them dearly. The bunker gives him a moment of safety, but Zergling is completely split. Jhin looking to get Diesel. Zergling will go down, a 3-for-0 in what was their engage of desperation.
That was a massive miss on that pulse bomb. Droplets tried to get Casanova on the Greymane, but he missed it. It was so close, but I believe it ended up hitting either the turret or a minion, and now 4 deaths on the side of King's Gambit. Level 20 here for no tomorrow. They can take the keep, they can take next protector, and that can very well spell the end of the game in no tomorrow's advantage.
They've got the support turret or item to help them with this push if they so choose to use it. The resources they have to end this game are absolutely in their hands. But the toss in onto Tracer, the arrow goes out, and that is gonna be it. Defending here is nigh impossible. Blaze up in 5, but it's a tall order.
What a fantastic find by Jhin. This player has just he's blown me out of the water. He's blown my mind so many times, and now no tomorrow, they have the focus, the double stun right there. No tomorrow, they are angry, they want to end this game, 30% on the core, and it looks like it is GG. No tomorrow taking this game on Volskaya.
And a beautiful series, you know, this is actually, you said this from the very beginning, you can't wait to see these Warrior players face off, and that honestly feels like a huge part of this. We've constantly seen Diesel leading the charge, finding those hard engages. That series, Jhin had control. He really did. He set some beautiful plays, and that Garrosh was just ready. So, no tomorrow puts another number on the board, tied over 2-3 right now, still favoring the guys over at King's Gambit.
I really like watching the Warrior battles. It's super fun. You know, the big part for me was just in that early game. King's Gambit actually had the advantage, the item advantage over that first control point. And then Diesel, he sees the opportunity. He's like, Garrosh, you know, I see you. You're looking pretty juicy. And he power slides in, and then immediately that Indomitable, the Wrecking Ball not over the wall, but very close to the fort. And then the wall, and then they just get the kill on him where they didn't need to. Right. So it's just these little meta battles between these frontline players. It's fantastic to watch.
It really is. And, you know, just looking at that game in general, I mean, we saw that Tracer pick up. Neither of us really expected it, right? We were talking about the options. Tychus seemed like the one to go for. And to me, that's more King's Gambit style. And we just had a lot of meh stage dives, and we had some pulse bomb opportunities that either missed or just didn't come out. And that it's the first game where it's looked like they were unwilling to pull the trigger because they thought they had it, right? And when you leave Greymane alone, he became the problem in every fight. The numbers for Greymane, they were on the screen. They were quite 47,000 for Hanzo, and Greymane did 32, but it was really just about the kill potential.
It was the patience of Greymane. And speaking of the patience of Greymane, we've got a replay for everyone at home. So it was an excellent, just the way that this fight played out, as we see here, the Pulse Bomb is actually available. So as we see, Equinox gets slid. You know, if we watch this unfold here, he's kind of caught out, but they got the Protector on the side of No Tomorrow. But the biggest part here is the Horrify lands, the misposition. Watch Droplets damage. It's coming through real strong, but not willing to spend the Pulse Bomb whatsoever. And look how low Equinox continually drops. And just not, like right there, not willing to use the Pulse Bomb to secure a kill. And they pay for it. Casanova plays patient, dives onto the backline, gets a double kill there. And then Equinox just waltzes to safety here. So just excellent patient play by No Tomorrow, and I really think that you said it yourself, like King's Gambit, they fell into this either not spending the Pulse Bomb or missing it, and they had to do it. And I said it when the game started, you know, we had to pay attention to how effective the Tracer is.
You know, even more than that, after rewatching that, Droplets had a turret the entire fight and was sitting there doing the damage, sitting on top of Arthas. If she had dropped that turret there, that also would have been enough to make the difference because there's no time to focus that turret. You're engaged. That Arthas is overextended. He's pushed in by the Horrify. So there's like a lot of little things that have happened, and like maybe they're getting lax. Maybe they're feeling like they're just in a great position. Maybe he forgot that you have that turret. It's the only map that we actively play that has the items where you're going to be using them in the chaos. And those little things add up. Every little misstep can just, end the game effectively.
Absolutely. So we got the 2-3 now. Not sure what map we're going to next, but these teams are so evenly faced, and they're fantastic to watch. And, you know, it's not like every single game we jump into, we're like, no, this looks like it's definitely going to be a No Tomorrow game, or this looks like it's definitely going to be a King's Gambit game. It's just their early game, both in every single game, has really dictated the flow of these of the games in general. And of course, since the changes of Heroes of the Storm, like early game has been even more important. But I love watching these teams go up against each other. They're just so evenly matched for each other.
They really are, and it's time to figure out what the next Battleground is going to be in this series. We said